The question that arose in my last video was, how do these very unprepared students end up in my geometry class? And the answer I'm going to give is that it's a result of the efforts of very well-intentioned people to solve a very serious problem in math education. The problem is that those people are trying to solve it in a way that's just not going to work. It's a way that's self-defeating. The very serious problem in math education is this: the average high school math department is not serving the average high school math student. Let me explain what I mean. The average high school math department in the United States has one course sequence that is successful for at least some students. And that course sequence looks like this, or perhaps a variation on the theme, but it's usually going to be a march to calculus. And I'm going to call this the college prep sequence. Now, the problem is that if we look at Americans age 25, we're going to find that 30% of them never even went to college. Another 40% went to college but didn't finish a degree. And only 30% of Americans age 25 have actually got a high school or a college diploma. So this college prep sequence is only really serving this group of students who completed a college degree. And actually, it's not even doing a great job of serving them. If you talk to students up here who are very successful in math, math majors or engineers or physics majors, they're going to be highly critical of this course sequence. They're going to say that it needed to be much more rigorous and much more fundamentally sound. And they're right. The Common Core's goal is to fix this course sequence. So if we implement the Common Core well, then hopefully it'll end up making these courses more rigorous and more fundamentally sound. But even if we do that, it's only going to fix this group's experience in high school. We're still not serving a large chunk of our population. Now, of course, the response is going to be, well, the goal is to get a lot more kids successful in college, obviously. Okay, suppose we succeed spectacularly at that goal and we actually double this number. We get 60% of kids completing a college education. Well, we still have 40% of students who are not served by this course sequence. The other question that emerges is, what do we do with the kids who aren't finding success in this sequence? What if they're failing these courses or having trouble with it? And the answer in recent years has been that we put these kids who are failing these courses into easier sort of remedial courses, like Intro to Algebra in Oakland Mills or Intro to Geometry here. Now, my colleagues who taught those intro courses, Intro to Algebra and Intro to Geometry, they are absolutely outstanding teachers, and they did really good things for the kids in those courses. However, I'm going to claim that those courses are not really remedial. The word remedial comes from the word remedy. A remedial course ought to fix something. A remedial algebra course should get a student to be ready for success in the college prep sequence, but they're not. I mean, typically at Oakland Mills, even though we had these great teachers working in the Intro to Algebra, it was unheard of for a student to come out of Intro to Algebra and go on to get an A or a B in Algebra 2 a few years later. That just didn't happen. The truth is that Intro to Algebra and Intro to Geometry were just a way for the weakest students to get a math credit and graduate high school. And they weren't really preparing these students for college, but they also weren't preparing these students for anything else. So there's a large number of students whose needs are not being met by this college prep curriculum. And that's very disturbing just from a pedagogical point of view, but it becomes even more disturbing if you adopt a broader social view of the consequences of this. The have-nots in American high school look a lot like the have-nots in American society as a whole. the inequality and injustice in the adult world is mirrored in the high school and mirrored among young kids. And that's especially disturbing considering that the high school is supposed to be a progressive institution. It's supposed to be a place where someone can come from any background and achieve whatever they're capable of achieving. So we can't possibly be just complacent to perpetuate inequality and injustice in the high school. We have to do something to serve every student.